Good evening. Welcome everyone to the December 8th, 2020 open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. At 6:15 p.m. I need to start out by reading the governor's message. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Cindy Knox, IT Director, at cknox@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8252 prior to the meeting. Thank you and welcome all. How are you this evening?
Well, thank you.
Fantastic. We have a full board. That's great. Okay, first order of business, approve the agenda.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda for the December 8th meeting of the Ayer Planning Board.
Thank you, Mr. Krantz.
Seconded.
Thank you, Ms. Murray. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to go by the squares on my screen again. Thank you. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you. So general business. We have covenants and bond releases. This evening, we do have a bond release request. Lot release for Pleasant Street by Calvin Moore. I assume you all received the email about it? You can't shake your heads. You got to say yes, please.
Yes. Yes.
I like it when you shake your heads, and now I can't. Of course, I can't find my copy of it. I had it a moment ago. Oh, here it is, right in front of me. I don't think we have to open this part of the meeting. All we need to do is put together a motion. Should we read the release into the record, Mark?
Yes. Yeah, I can do that. That would be
Okay.
good. First, I'll read Superintendent Mark Wetzel of the Ayer DPW. I'll read his statement to us in a memo. Dear board members, the planning board currently holds covenants on 6 lots, lots 4 through 9, in the Riley Jane subdivision as surety for the site development. DJ Moore, the developer, has requested release of the covenants on lots 4, 5, and 6 so that he can sell them. The covenants on the remaining lots 7, 8, and 9 will provide adequate value to cover the remaining work. I recommend that the planning board vote to release the covenants on lots 4, 5, and 6. If you have any questions or additional information, please feel free to contact me, Superintendent Wetzel. Also, Heather prepared a document for the planning board chairman's signature reflecting what I just read, and also listing the book and page and other details of the lots. So as far as I can tell, everything is in order and ready for planning board action.
Thank you. So I'd accept a motion, please, from a member of the board.
I make a motion to approve the covenant release of lots 4, 5, and 6 as described by Town Planner Mark Archambault.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Thank you very much. Any discussion on this from anybody? Questions? Hearing none. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Murray, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
The chair votes aye. So the chair, I'll sign this on behalf of the board. Because of COVID, I'm not going, do you want me to come meet you tomorrow, Heather, and sign this in your presence? Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I will meet with Heather at some point tomorrow. It might be afternoon, Heather, okay?
That's fine, as long as it's before 4 o'clock.
Great, thank you. And because the document needs to be notarized by Heather, so I'll need to sign it in her presence. Thank you very much. Next on our next on our agenda is the preliminary subdivision plan for 0 Washington Street, Northeast Site Development LLC, and Beals Associates. I'm assuming all the names I see on the screen are folks for that process, for this item.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am going to, okay, great. Thanks. We don't need to open a hearing, do we, Mark? This is preliminary.
It's preliminary, though, as a formality. I recommend that before the planning board gets very far with the discussion that we accept the preliminary subdivision plan for consideration. I did go through the checklist. It's complete. And I would say that, all the information they gave us, it's actually more than complete for a preliminary subdivision plan. So I would recommend that motion to kick things off. Just
Thank
to
you.
accept the plan for consideration.
Thank you very much. May I please have a motion from a member of the board?
I make a motion to accept for consideration the application for the subdivision plan called Panther Place, identified as 0 Washington Street.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Marie. Any conversation, any
Discussion.
comments? Not hearing none. Thank you. Mr.
Oh,
Diskin.
no, I have a comment.
Oh, yes, Mr. Diskin, I'm sorry.
Yes, so there are potentially some deficiencies in the application. Should we discuss those now or wait for the applicant to make the presentation?
I'm open to what the board feels. I'd like to see us, let's have Mark cover what he's done with this. Let's have the applicant go through the procedure. Maybe some of it will pop up. If not, we'll have an opportunity at the end of this part of our agenda to go through it. And I'd like to recommend to the board that after we ask the applicant to do their presentation on this, that we be a little bit organized about it and maybe go in order and have ask questions and have comments. And I think, Mr. Diskin, will that work to help you along?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor, Mr. Diskin?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. King, you moved on me. How do you vote, Mr. King? You're on mute, Nick.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz
Aye.
and Ms. Murray.
Aye.
Thank you. Chair votes aye. Fantastic. So Mark, why don't you start us off, please?
Okay, several weeks ago, we received a preliminary subdivision plan for a 21.22 acre site directly across from the Ayer High School. And I won't go into a lot of details with a presentation on the physical characteristics of the tract, since I know the applicant will be doing that. However, I would like, since there's a lot to chew in a new subdivision, I think there's a temptation to sort of take it all at once and try to resolve everything in one meeting, which I would caution against. So in order to, I think, most effectively address the plan, I recommend that we sort of go in order of the recommended steps that are in our bylaw, section 10.1. More or less, step 1 is to review the conservation analysis and the Conservation Commission's recommendation to the planning board with its conservation findings. And you probably recall this map that our conservation administrator prepared, as well as a narrative that went with it. I recommend that, before the evening is over, that the planning board makes conservation findings regarding the Conservation Commission's recommendation to us, which could be either to endorse it wholesale or to make any minor modifications as to what we consider to be high, medium, and low priority areas for conservation. And that will set us up nicely for discussion of the features of the subdivision. After the conservation findings, a logical place to talk about next would be the yield plan or the conventional subdivision plan, which leads to a determination of the base number of lots. However, I must emphasize we probably won't resolve that this evening, though I think we can begin that discussion. And also we can, discuss the various density bonuses and waivers that the applicant is requesting for the definitive plan. Again, that's something that will probably take more than one meeting to really flesh out and consider. But I think those are good steps to begin with. In my review of the plan, as you saw in my staff report, my main recommendations, I'll just give a big overview since I'm sure we'll get into a lot of detail in this discussion over the next few meetings. One is, I thought that I thought the subdivision is not taking as much advantage of the OSRD options as we have in the bylaw. The lots that are shown are actually conventional subdivision lots that meet the underlying zoning. And as we all know, you can go to smaller lots in an OSRD subdivision, which allows more open space to be preserved. I've also asked the applicant to consider a mix of units in the subdivision, not just exclusively single-family homes. That may enable the footprint of the developed portion to be reduced somewhat. There are several significant environmental features on the site. In addition to the two wetlands on the east and west side, which extend to the back portion of the property or the north portion, which they're proposing to be open space. There's also a natural heritage endangered species program area, which is on the lot, I believe, for Blanding turtle habitat. And so that's something which the Conservation Commission also highlighted in their conservation recommendations. So in general, I believe that the subdivision could be redesigned in order to better meet the objectives of our bylaw and master plan. But I don't want to go into details at this point, like, lot 5 has this, lot 6 is that. That will come a little bit later, but I just wanted to give sort of the 10,000 foot overview. And I spoke with the applicant today just to go over what we might be doing tonight. And so they agreed to put together a good presentation on the features of the land and why they developed the subdivision plan as they did.
I think that'll be illustrative.
Right. So that's basically, my recommendations for tonight. That we do not forget to address the conservation analysis and the conservation recommendations of the Conservation Commission. I believe once we set that in place, we'll be able to discuss the fine details with that behind us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. I'm going to add one thing because it's on my list. I'd hope that we'd be able to schedule a site walk also before the end of the meeting this evening at some point in the future.
Yes.
I may recommend Saturday is not a good day. It's supposed to be pouring, but we'll find something. Fantastic. Thank you. Got lots of folks on the screen. Who would like to start out from the applicant?
I believe I'd like to start out. I'm assuming I'm unmuted. Can you hear
Yes.
me okay?
Yes. I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourselves just so we can get the names out to folks.
Sure. That was actually going to be, that's on my list of things to do. So my name
Thank
is
you.
Larry Beals. I'm with Beals Associates, and we are the firm that's responsible for the civil engineering and planning of this preliminary subdivision. With me from my firm is Ben Enos, who has done a lot of the engineering. So between the two of us, hopefully we can answer questions and respond to any comments that you may have. The developer of the project is Joseph Levine. He's here too. So anything I get stuck on in terms of the development aspect, he can certainly answer. And then you probably know Brian Butler. His reputation precedes him, but Brian did all of the wetland mapping. His firm did the wetland mapping, and we'll get into it a little bit in the discussion, but there's rare and endangered species habitat. And Brian has dealt with natural heritage on that as well. So
May I ask, is Mr. Butler with Oxbow Associates?
yes,
Thank you.
Yes.
Mhm.
yes. I've worked with Brian for many, many years, so I just assume everybody knows him as well as I do. But,
I'm sorry, Larry. I got to lean a little bit because we're on TV. We got to capture everything. Every vote has to be done by roll call.
yes,
So please bear with me. I promise I won't be asking you for your shoe size.
well, you're the chair, so I've learned to always obey the chair. So so that's the introduction. That's the team. We've put together, as Mark suggested, a presentation that we'd like to walk you through.
Mhm.
And it's not highly detailed, but I think it's enough information to give you a perspective on the project. So I'm going to share my screen, if I may.
Okay, I've been told I can let that happen. Can you? I don't know how to make it
I
happen.
think you already have.
Yeah, thank you.
I took care of that for you, Jeff.
Thanks, Cindy.
You're welcome.
I used to be an IT guy. I gave it up. It was too confusing.
It can be.
No, thank you very much, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Do you see a preliminary subdivision slide?
Yes, we do. It looks like a PowerPoint presentation. There we go.
Yes.
Yep. And there you go. Now you're in presentation mode, Mr. Beals.
Great. And I'm going to get my laser pointer. So this is our proposed subdivision. This is a preliminary subdivision. So we understand you're seeing it for the first time. And as the name implies, this is a preliminary plan. So we'd like to explain to you how we developed this plan, but we're open to comments and questions that anybody may have. As Mark had mentioned, we're directly across the street from the high school. We're on the north side. And what we've outlined in yellow here is the 3 parcels that we're hoping to amalgamate and turn into a cluster development. So this, where my laser pointer is, this is the north end of the site. School is on the south end, south side. Washington Street runs along the southern boundary. You'll notice a power easement running through the northern portion of the site. And then there's a much larger power easement to the northeast. There's a residential subdivision cul-de-sac. There's a couple of out parcels with homes on them along Washington Street. So the area is primarily residential with the institutional uses of the school. Now that's an overview. I'd like to put it into context, if I may, just to orient people. So we've gone way up in scale. We're substantially higher above the site. So our subdivision is proposed again here, the area outlined in yellow. For reference, you can see the large power line. This is a smaller power line right here that traverses our property, the high school, and the center of Ayer is located here.
Excuse me, I think it's safe to say we can all see our homes from here.
Okay, give me an address, I can try to point them out.
You're close, but that's no. I'm just keep going. Thank you.
Okay, so a lot of site planning is particularly in New England, is simply identifying the constraints on the property and then developing a plan that responds to those constraints. So this is an existing conditions plan. We've rotated it 90 degrees. So if you're ever questioning which direction you're looking, I call your attention to the north arrow down on the bottom of the page. Mm-hmm. So where the laser pointer is right now, that's the north end of the site, south end. You can catch a bit of the front of the high school here. Out parcels along the frontage, cul-de-sac next to us to the east, and then some forest land to the west. We've overlaid this on an aerial photograph of the property because a picture's worth 1,000 words, and I think it provides a good orientation to a lot of different parties that may be looking at this. But I'll walk you around the site and try to explain the colors. This purple color that I'm tracing is the property line. And then a very important feature on the site is the bordering vegetated wetlands. So we've used some shading here. The actual wetland boundary is this hard line, this dark bold line that I'm tracing right now. And then we have the 25-foot buffer zone, the 50-foot buffer zone, and then the 100-foot buffer zone. So the Conservation Commission jurisdiction is within this area surrounding this wetland. And then likewise on the eastern wetland, this boulder line is the boundary of the bordering vegetated wetlands that Brian Butler mapped. Then we've got the 25-foot buffer, 50, and 100-foot buffer. We've also superimposed topography on here, and I hope you can see these lines. Those are the 2-foot contour lines, and the high point on the property is actually up by Washington Street. So this is one of those nice sites that actually, as you enter, you're at the high part of the site, and then it generally slopes either towards the wetlands, as you would expect, because the water flows in those directions. And then it slopes to a central plateau here, and then it begins to pitch again once you're off that plateau in a northerly direction all the way to our rear property line. So our highest point is the southern property line, lowest point is the northern property line, and it's a very consistent grade across the site. Some of the slopes are 0 to 3%. Some of them range from 5 to 10, but we don't have any slopes over 15% on this site. This area that is where the contours are the closest together is actually about a 12% slope. So it's dropping 12 feet in 100 feet, which is considered relatively level, comparatively speaking. I think the NRCS and Soil Conservation Services that map soils view 25% slopes as being steep slopes. You can see the power line easement towards the northern portion of the site. And then these bright red dots are test pits. And when we first started working with Joe, we thought it was really important to gather soil information. It helps guide the development. It helps us understand subsurface constraints. And over the years, I've dug a lot of test pits, and I find it particularly interesting. So I tend to encourage every client to dig test pits because I find it fascinating. So we obviously we didn't dig test pits in the wetlands because they're restricted. We did dig in the buffer zone because we wanted to understand the groundwater table. And we were encouraged by our results because we had a backhoe that could dig about 12 feet. And we were able to get that depth throughout the site. The soils are well drained, fairly permeable. We didn't see any modeling. In a brief description of modeling is it tells you where the seasonal high water table is. So if you've got a restrictive layer or if you've got a permanent water table, you'll find models or consistently gray soils. All of our soils were very granular and appeared to be well drained, and they are typically high chroma soils. They're reds and oranges and tans. So we were not in wetland areas or poorly drained soils. You know, what does that tell us? It tells us we can potentially use some infiltrative drainage to recharge the groundwater table. It tells us that we're not going to be encountering bedrock. We won't be doing blasting. We won't be having to underdrain the roadway because we don't have a seasonal high water table. But just as a design consideration, we tried to stay as close as we could to the existing ground surface. It doesn't make any sense to have deep cuts or deep fills, particularly on a site like this where you have gentle slopes coming down to a plateau and then more slope towards the back. So that one day in the field was invaluable in terms of collecting information on the site. So then we did our yield plan, and I wouldn't classify this as a very creative design. It was done in accordance with your regulations so that we could understand if we complied with the subdivision rules and regulations how many lots are feasible on this site. And I believe this comes up to a total of 19 lots. Lot 1 starts over in the southeast corner. They're numbered around, and we come up at 19. It does also stay outside of the natural heritage boundary, which is this line. I have better plans to illustrate this further on in the presentation, but
Actually, Mr. Beasley, I'm sorry, Mr. Beals, I'm sorry. Could you go back a slide quickly? Is that possible? Yeah, I was just going to say, the yellow line, I believe, you can't see my hand, but the yellow line is SENEGSP line, correct?
yes, I apologize for not
That's
emphasizing
quite all right.
that.
That's
But-
the NHGSP line, and the grayish green area, I don't see colors very well, but there's three thirds, if you will. The middle third is the easement for the power lines.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That just might help people. People who are watching, they may be oriented. I mean, we've seen this in black and white, so some of us have some experience with it. But thank you.
well, thank you for making that comment. It's helpful to orient. So if you can focus on this line right here, I'll go to the next slide, which is this line. If you can read the fine print, it says natural heritage. So Brian can talk about this later, but I'll keep going, and as long as I have the floor. And the purpose of that line is natural heritage maps that as an area of concern. So they're more or less alerting us or anybody else that is thinking about doing something on this property that there is potential for habitat in that area. Understanding the critical nature of this, Brian did file plans with Natural Heritage, and they've rendered an opinion that the plans that we'll show you as we work our way through this presentation do not constitute a take. And what Natural Heritage wants to understand or wants to prevent is a development like this encroaching on rare and endangered species habitat and taking vital habitat away from that area. And they've at least rendered an opinion that this plan does not do that.
And I might add, in their perfectly circuitous, in non-understandable language, not a take is a good thing.
Correct. It's like negative test results.
It's like an RDA.
So that was good news. And then I've got the black and white version of this, and I've got the color version of this. And we wanted to use this drawing at least to give you a perspective. And if you have specific questions about detail, I'll flip to the next slide, which is black and white. But
actually, I'm going to just, if you don't mind, this is CO02. I don't think we received, I don't reckon, even in black and white, I don't believe this was submitted with the actual preliminary set. Okay.
Yes. So
That's okay. Keep going.
okay.
I appreciate the color. I'll speak on behalf of the board. I do appreciate the color, but thank you. So.
You go back that other slide, please, and see what they called it again.
Yeah, I just want to orient you. So what we did for the purposes of this meeting to inject some color is we took this drawing, which is our open space residential development plan, and went up in scale and then dropped it onto that air photo again.
Okay.
So that earlier drawing that we were looking at encompassed this area.
Yeah. If I may, excuse me, I believe for the members of the board, that's page C2.1 of the plan set we have in black and white.
That's right.
And I looked at it quickly just to see like lot, I guess it's lot 8. Yeah, on the eastern edge, lot 8 has that bump out from the wetlands into it. So it looks like it matches up fairly closely. Thank you. This is helpful.
Yeah, so the reason we did this is since it's a preliminary, we thought it was very helpful to have that big picture discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And, the math on the frontage is one thing, but we want to show you how this fits into the parcel and the environment in general.
Mm-hmm.
So to reorient everybody, Washington Street's out here. And this is the easement line that you referred to.
For these power lines.
Correct, the power easement line.
Mm-hmm.
And then the natural heritage line is right here.
It bisects lots 12 through 16.
Correct.
In this drawing. Yep. Okay.
Correct. And then we crosshatch what we're proposing as the open space. So this makes perfect sense. And, we were thrilled when we began to analyze this site to realize that the rare and endangered species habitat is really on the northern end or the downhill side of the site in the most remote part of the site. So it seemed like we could coexist with that fairly well. Also, my understanding is as you go down the hill and as you approach these wetland areas to the rear of the property, the habitat area becomes more valuable. So we wanted to focus our development up on the higher elevations, closer to the roadway, in the areas already developed to provide as much distance between us and this critical habitat down here. We also have a nice separation with the power easement. So we were chatting with Mark a little bit today. I understand he's a bird watcher, and the nice thing about this power easement, well, it's nice because it provides power to people that need it. But from an environmental perspective, the power company has created a tremendous amount of edge habitat. So we've got two sides of that easement that go from sort of a scrubby, shrubby area to forest. And if you know, some of the most productive ecosystems in the world are where two different types meet, like the ocean meeting the shore or the forest meeting the field. So we
Or
really
wetland meeting a buffer.
Yes, exactly. And so we thought this made sense as open space. And then we wrapped the open space up around the existing wetland areas to create open space there. And then it's important to have access to open space, I assume. So we provided a public access point to that.
Mr. Chair, through the chair to Mr.
Yeah.
Quick question. I understand that there's an interesting granite ledge outcrop, and I was wondering, in somewhere in this parcel, could you point to it on this slide? Could you give us a sense of where that is?
The boulder, is that what you're asking about, Mr.
Yeah, the
Grants?
boulder that Mark described in his report. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you had me confused when you said.
Sorry about that. I meant boulder, not ledge,
Okay.
boulder.
Okay.
Jonathan, you're talking to a guy who's fascinated by test pits. You got to be careful. He knows what nice is. He knows what nice is, and I'm not talking about how we like each other. Okay.
Exactly. So, it's hard to see from here, but one of the guys in my office can correct me, or Joe can, but I believe it's in this area.
Okay.
Actually, Larry, it's on like near the intersection of lot 22, 23, and 21, kind of right below your mouse. Keep going down. There you go, right there. Kind of in that intersection of three lots.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is where it roughly is.
Good.
Kind of it for its own way, it wound up kind of on a proposed lot line.
Thank you.
It's a nice feature.
Yeah, no, the trees were nicely plotted, and the boulders come up. Of course, we're dying, Mr. Levine. We're dying to find out where it is. So thank you very much.
No problem.
And then this is a subdivision where there's a main road coming in. And we actually had a pre-meeting that Mark hosted with the town hall staff, all the various departments. And we had proposed some common driveways and hammerhead lots in this area. And the police and fire expressed a preference not to have that type of lot. And so we went back to the drawing board and discovered that we could actually create a cul-de-sac with adequate turning radius in the cul-de-sac for a fire truck. And so we did away with the hammerhead lots in this area and created the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, thank you. And if I may, just for the board members, some of you may know this and some may not. I was talking with Mr. Schultz today, and he mentioned that in his conversations with the fire department and looking at this, they are not excited about having shared driveways because it's difficult to get the large apparatus down them in situations where there may be snow on the sides of the driveway. So that's a consideration for us as we think about this. Thank you, Mr. Beals.
Yeah, he was a little more forceful with us in his displeasure with those. You know, and
that's why I'm the chair. I'm nice, okay?
But you know, he explained the situation where somebody burns a piece of toast and they've got to take the equipment out there, and then they have to figure out how to get it off the site. So,
yeah,
you know, with this layout, they can drive a fire truck on, and it's one maneuver and back out, and likewise here, and out. So, you know, I'm glad they made that comment because it hadn't occurred to us, and we studied it, and we came up with what I think is a better solution in this area. And then I'll just flip to the next drawing to show. That's what it looks like in black and white.
Nice.
So the reason we had the other drawing is this, in order to see the detail, we had to blow it up. For reference, the natural heritage line is there. The power easement is there. So you're missing the whole back portion of the site. And I was afraid this drawing would convey the image that we're maximizing the development of the entire site, not creating any open space. But for reference, this is open space. From this line, this direction is open space, and likewise, this is all open space. We have pretty good site distance out here. It's posted, as you would expect, as a school zone. It's 25 miles per hour. I think that requires a site distance of 155 feet. The high point is down here. I think it's more like 250 feet to the high point.
Well, I disagree, but go ahead.
Okay. Your disagreement's noted. What I was going to say is that we haven't made those measurements yet, and we need to go out in the field and actually survey that in.
Okay.
So that,
if you look at you see the curb cut that goes into the high school just north of where your pointer is. I guess it's actually, that's the high point's actually just beyond, right? And
it's about in front of the sign.
It's right
So
around, it's short of that, and it's right around that entrance. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
It's probably down the picture some, just past the curb cut, but we'll figure it out exactly. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know it's a 25 mile an hour zone, and I do my best. I know many people don't. So.
And we want to be really analytical about this and make the measurements in accordance with ITE standards because, you know, a car has a certain height, so measuring to the high point isn't necessarily your sight distance. And we also want to be, you know, is there vegetation here that perhaps blocks the view? So we still have some work to do on that. We think we're okay, but I'm assuming we'll be back for another meeting, at least on this preliminary, and then we've got the next phase of the definitive. So we'll provide more accurate information.
Yeah, and as I said, I think we'd like to walk the site before we approve it all.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Again.
Thanks. I would love to participate in a site walk with you because, you know, looking at black and white drawing, the advantage I have tonight is I've been on the site and you probably haven't. And it's hard to really convey the features of the site until you've actually walked it. So I think with this introduction and a site walk, you'll have a much better understanding of the property. One thing that I find that works pretty well when I'm trying to ballpark a site distance is I'll stand right here where my laser pointer is, look in either direction for a car, and as soon as I see a car, if I can count slowly to 7, I have enough adequate sight distance.
You're gonna have a problem doing that, believe me.
Yeah. Well, I have to count to 7 before the car actually is at
1, 2,
that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. So we'll do that evaluation also.
Excuse me, I'm laughing because Mr. Diskin walks that road probably daily, multiple times.
So
Yeah.
so we're dealing with an expert.
You're dealing with someone very familiar with the area, as we all are. But yeah,
I also live on Washington Street too, so
Yeah.
yeah, this is my backyard pretty much.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't know all this when I started because I would have been much more intimidated. So,
Our goal isn't to intimidate you. Our goal is to actually take a look and see what you got and
Yeah.
work. So,
good.
But thank you.
So what we're trying to do is create a cohesive residential cluster development. And, that gets into lot size and Mark has suggested making them smaller. We suggest that these feel really the right size for us, but we'll discuss that. I want to give you a perspective on what Joe is proposing.
Thank you.
So we've given some thought to this because there's a provision in your zoning that talks about making houses solar ready.
Mhm.
So when you have a site that runs from south to north, the front half of every house it has the potential for being solar ready. And we really have two different footprints. We have this footprint for the wider lots. So you can see it's a little bit longer side to side than it is front to back. And then we have another footprint that has the garage on the side and the building goes, the long axis is from the front of the building to the back of the building. And this is a computer rendition of what this footprint is intended to convey.
That rendering doesn't match the two sides.
The rendering that's a house I built that is not very observant. That floor plan isn't 100% match, but it is about a 90% match.
Okay.
So for example, on this one, garage is kind of set back. If you look at that footprint, I brought the garage forward so I can tuck that deck behind. So if there's a situation where the lot may present, hey, let's stay a little further away from something, wetlands, we can do that without trying to encroach. So yes, observant, but it is 90% of what it is.
So the houses are elevations that are suggestive of what you're planning on building.
Correct. And so,
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So you're anticipating that this would be a house that the front door in the house would be facing to the west, and the roof would be facing to the south in those lots. The other one would turn so that the front of the house would face to the south, basically.
Well, actually, when it comes to the solar ready, what it is really it's a calculation originally derived, through working with the architect to the southern roof side, and then we would take the let's say the rafters are normally 16 inches on center, we would probably change those to 12 inches on center to support the load, leave an extra capacity in the panel in the basement. And probably the other thing we would do is leave an extra conduit line, run within the house so nothing runs outside, so it doesn't look like junk. So whatever technology needs down the road, there's a place for it to go, clean and organized.
And it would always be roof mounted.
Yeah.
No ground mounted anywhere.
Nah, wouldn't be, in my opinion. In my opinion, it wouldn't, no. It would be roof mounted as the appropriate thing for this.
Okay. I'm going to ask the board to hold questions as we go forward. I know I jumped in also, but let Mr. Beal, we are going to be limited on time. So I want to ask Mr. Beals to make sure he gets through his presentation to us tonight and we get started.
Well, I'm actually running out of things to say. So what I just keyed this up as the last slide. It seems to be the easiest one to talk to, but I will toggle back and forth between any slide that you want to look at. And
thank you very much.
That concludes what we have to say, at least for this evening.
Fantastic. So we've all had a chance to look at the materials. We've looked at the conservation recommendation right now. I'm trying to think, how do we want to use our time? We've got a couple things we need to cover in our meeting. And I do appreciate, Mr. Beals, thank you very much for taking us through that presentation. I think it was, I think it's very helpful. Do members of the board have questions you want to jump in and start talking about now? I got a thumbs up from Mr. Krantz. I think Ms. Diskin also. So why don't we start with Mr. Krantz?
Hi, this is for Mr. Beals and Mr. Enos. If you could walk us through your base lot calculations, the literal numbers you used. Specifically, I'm curious to know whether you included the area of the easement under the power lines, that area within your initial base lot calculation of the parcel, and also whether you, if you put, calculated proportionally the wetlands. In other words, the portion of wetlands that can be dismissed from the final open space has to be proportional to their to the wetlands, to the overall space. I didn't say that as well as I could. Someone else, Mark or Jeff, could probably articulate that clearer. But I want to be sure that we're working with the correct numbers. Could you walk us through, like, what number did you start with and how did you arrive at your initial yield calculations for this plan?
So let me do this. I'll switch back to the yield plan. And Ben, you have a lot more of the numbers in front of you, so feel free to chime in here. Let me get up to the...
Who did you say had the numbers?
Ben Enos, who
Thank you.
is an engineer in our office. We did calculate the easement in the open space calculations.
It's included in it or not included? It's included?
It is included. And we talked to Mark about this, and we provided him the deed references that interestingly, the easements for the power company allows the power company to control vegetation within the easement and to place poles, but it doesn't restrict any use. It doesn't prohibit use within that easement. It's an easement that's written to allow the power company to do what it needs to do for its easement, but it doesn't prevent other activities within that easement. So we thought, based on that, it would factor in as open space because it's usable open space. Ben, do you want to run through the calculations? I think you're muted, Ben. And if you can't unmute, you could just come down here to my office and so Ben will run through the calculations with me. It'll be odd for you because you'll see my name, but it'll be he speaking.
So Jonathan, you brought up the question on how we got to our yield count.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so our yield count is actually more based off the roadway development and the right of way with how much frontage we could fit within the site. So that's driven by that 650 cul-de-sac maximum length. So that was really the driving factor to get us to that 19 lots. Is that?
I think somebody needs to mute a microphone. Go ahead, keep going.
Jeff, you're muted right now.
You are in the meeting now. There are 15 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You are unmuted.
So I guess we'll continue. That wasn't on our end. I think somebody logged on that wasn't muted, but go ahead.
So that easement area didn't really come into effect when we determined our base lot count for the open space development.
What about the wetlands?
The wetland ratio we did make sure we abided by that 1-to-1 ratio in laying out lots.
Okay.
May I ask a question, just so we're clear? I was looking at the screen because somebody was trying to get in. I'm not sure exactly what was happening. I hope I didn't kick somebody out. Looks like we have everybody here. You did the base lot calculation based on the length of the cul-de-sac, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because
Brian?
we were limited by
Ben?
the amount of frontage.
Yep. Okay. So I heard Mr. Kranz's question being asked a different way, but I would ask the question, do you know what the square area of the easement under the wires is?
I do.
We do. I don't have the exact number right now.
Okay. I'm kind of an analytical guy, so at some point it may become important, but thank you.
Mr. Chair, I might be able to help with some rough back of the envelope calculations. I scaled it off the area of the easement.
Yeah. So Mark, if we can get that information, that's good. But I want to kind of keep going. I've got 5 board members I want to get through, and I do want to move this on. I apologize to the applicant, but given the stretch we have to get things into, our time, so.
Right. I just wanted the board to know that I did not tell the applicant that they could definitely use the area under the power line easement in their open space calculations. And I believe there's some reason why that might not be possible, which I can go over later. I'm sure, I flagged it in my staff report, but I wanted to get an idea of how that might affect things. So though the power line easement per se would not affect potentially the number of lots, it could affect the amount of open space they need to provide to meet the 50%.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons, Mr. Krantz, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's one of the genesis of Mr. Krantz's question, is the different areas that are represented by the roadways, the wetlands, the easement, and things like that. And those numbers may be valuable in the future. Mr. Krantz, have you gotten the answers you have gotten? Do you have more questions for?
Yes, I just want, and I'm going to make this quick. I just want the point that I'm making about the baseline calculation is absolutely fundamental. It's very difficult for us to make meaningful decisions regarding other aspects of the plan unless we're confident that the fundamentals are sound. So that's why I think it's absolutely essential that we're founding or basing our judgments on the right numbers. The second question, so I understand so I already see that there's some complexity in that calculation that may need to be further pursued. My second question is one of just, I kind of want to get a sense of the judgment of Mr. Levine, Mr. Beals, Mr. Enos, about why you didn't take advantage of the flexibility of lot sizes in an OSRD. The OSRD is designed in a sense to be a trade-off that in exchange for granting the open space, we give the applicant, the developer, liberty to flexibility with the lot sizes. And I have to admit, I was rather surprised that you didn't avail yourself of that opportunity. Can you let us in on your thinking on that?
Ayer, do you want to take it?
Well, this is a fairly subjective question, and I think my experience and Joe's experience to some extent is there's a good balance, and I can't give you a precise number, but we develop a lot of these subdivisions, we design a lot of them. I always go back and look at them to figure out how do they look and feel, because you have to consider, we've presented a lot of math to you, we've presented a lot of engineering, but you got to look at it from the perspective of ultimately somebody's going to live there, and they're going to have neighbors, and how does this whole development feel and look and work together? And the underlying zoning in the zoning district is 12,000 square feet. That really feels about right to us for these lots. We're at least matching what's in the underlying zoning. We're protecting a ton of open space. And I think if we reduce these lots by maybe from 12 to 10,000 square feet, it would change the lot lines. I think it would make the lots feel a little bit tighter, but it might not substantially change the feel of the subdivision. So I don't have a hard answer to give you other than I think our experience has been 12,000 square feet. It's a feels like the smallest you want to make one of these lots. So we view it as the 12,000 square foot really as a cluster lot anyway. Joe, do you want to add to that?
No, I think Larry pretty much covered it. I think
Okay.
there's intangibles, and the 12,000 feels right, fits in the neighborhood. That's what we were trying to go for.
But, Jonathan, I think we owe you a better explanation and maybe some information to try to quantify that. So we could, I've written down your questions, and we'll take a look at it and develop a response for the next meeting.
If I may, just in hearing your response, have you done something similar to this in the general area, the immediate area, surrounding towns, that you would point to and say, go look at this?
I'll have to think about that. Yes, I have. One comes to my mind, which is not a neighboring town, but we did a cluster development in Topsfield. And, it was the same thing. We did a proof plan. We generated a number of lots. We shrunk the lot sizes. We built the houses on it. And I remember thinking afterwards that I think we made the lots too tight, because it began to create the inevitable conflicts of people draining onto other people's lots and encroaching on property lines. And in a home, you want to have some elbow room, a reasonable amount. And
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll rack my brain for other examples, but
no, I get it, and I think it'll be helpful when we do a site visit, a site walk, to get a feel for them also. But thank you.
Yeah.
Jonathan, Mr. Krantz, do you have any other questions?
No, I'm done. I'd rather other members of the board have a chance to speak, please.
Okay, I'm going to let Mr. King, Ms. Murray, Mr. Diskin, do you have anything you would like to follow up with at this point?
I do, but I'll wait for the others.
I think they're waiting for you.
Waiting for me?
I appreciated Mr. Kranz's questions, and I do look forward to hearing Mr. Diskin's. So thank you for asking.
Okay. So want to give me the floor then, Jeff?
I think so, Mr. Diskin. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, the first thing I want to say is thank you, gentlemen, Mr. Levine and Mr. Beals and the whole team for bringing this to us. I think it's going to make a nice development for our town, and I want to say that right up front before we get into the heavy lifting here. So just from the very start and the yield plan, first of all, I'd like to go back to, I'm going to take it right through the drawings and right through the narrative to show you, point on a couple of things which I think you're going to want to rectify. And the first one is going to be, if you go back to the drawing that you've got on all your drawings, it pretty much indicated that the easement is actually labeled as it's a parcel that's owned by the power company, not your parcel. So you've got a little error there, which you're going to want to clear up right there in the left-hand side of that drawing. It falls on most of your drawings. You blow that up. Their land, in fact, ends just where they own the land, ends just east of your parcel. The rest is the easement, not their ownership. The same problem happens in the narrative, where you indicate on the narrative that the ownership is, it's like on the right on the front page of the narrative, there's several errors is what I'm getting at. You want to clean them up, I think. The second to the last paragraph on the end, it says, in addition to the existing resource, a tract of land bisecting the property located in the northern half of the property contains high power lines running east to west. The tract of land and power lines are under the ownership of New England Power, but they're not. They're under your ownership. And the deed it references.
Could you read that sentence again?
Well, if you've got Brian Sutherland on, who wrote it, I think you should probably hear it.
Okay.
And the bottom of the page of the project narrative, second to the last paragraph, and on your drawings as well, it's right there in the left-hand side of this drawing. It says, in addition to the existing resource areas, a tract of land bisecting the property located in the northern half of the property consists of high power lines running east to west, period. This tract of land and power lines are under the ownership of the New England Power Company per the deed recorded in the southern middle section that gives you the deed and book and page, excuse me. And then it talks about a cart path. So we know you own it, and the label that's on your drawings and the paragraph that's in the narrative, you should probably correct.
Yeah, we will. We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
The paragraph preceding that on the first page is also an error. where it talks about the property contains 2 isolated wetland resource areas. I think the narrative is referring to using isolated as like a descriptive word, but as we know, there is such a thing as an isolated resource area, and these are BVWs. So that paragraph should probably be changed to refer to them as 2 BVW wetland resources and take out the word isolated, because they're not isolated resource areas.
Yeah, I know what he was intending to say, but we'll change it so it's clear.
Yeah, I mean, it just, if you want to get it right, and I think you do. It also makes a mention of the fact that the work is limited in the impacts of this area are additionally the NHESP construction. Says, he also refers to the NHESP and says is located within the northern half of the property. The impacts to this area are limited with the proposed right-of-way and all construction-related activities occurring south of the NHESP boundary. And we can see clearly that you've got a retention basin and potential utility installments, pump station, sewer lines, et cetera. So that type of construction is occurring within the NHESP. Even though you have the no take, the narrative indicates there's nothing, no construction there. That's also an error.
You're talking about the sediment forebay that's shown at the end of Panther Place,
Well,
correct?
it's not just the forebay, it's shown.
Oh, I understand, yeah.
So there'd be an extensive amount of clearing to install the sediment retention basin. There it is. And then utilities that are in the same place beyond the line. So in my estimation, that's a serious amount of construction, including the clearing of trees and so forth. So I'm inclined when we get to the definitive to be moving all of that outside of the NHESP per your statement that you've made, that there won't be any construction activities occurring in there. So you might want to think about that. That's in the narrative. You've got a note in the narrative also, and one of just a technical point, I believe all our easements in town for utilities, if you look at the subdivision regulations, have to be a minimum of 20 feet in width. I think you've got shown them as 10 feet in width on the final drawing, or not the drawing, the preliminary drawing. I'll go back to the yield plan if I could, which you have on the screen, thank you. And I'm going to oppose lots 1 and 2 as being part of the subdivision and call them A&R lots for your count, since the existing frontage on those lots falls on a finished street in town. I don't think that we should be counting those as lots 1 and 2 of the new subdivision road, because their frontage is existing on an existing road, and I believe they're A&R lots. So that would change your initial count from 19 to 17. And then lot 19, I believe, is a non-complying lot with our standards, because I don't believe you can get from the frontage of a lot to the buildable portion of a lot around a 12-foot distance at the corner of those existing lots. So I'd take that lot out. So I've got you down to as being at 16 lots rather than 19 lots on the yield plan. That's some of what I have. So that's the other thing. I think when Jonathan asked the question earlier about the calculations, and we understand we'll get this from you on the final drawing for the definitive, would be an actual table that shows us all the mathematics, broken down into the sections that refer to wetlands and the percentage of open space, the percentage of the deductions, and so forth and so on. And I'm also on board with Jonathan that I don't believe that the easement under the power lines, if you looked at the regulations for National Grid at this point in time, I believe those are posted areas for danger and so forth. So I don't consider that to necessarily be a qualified open space if it's posted as such. And I understand you can get language from them because we walk under them around town ourselves. So I guess it would just be a matter of the applicant getting the right language in the easement to allow the public to go through there again. So what else? Show proposed single family. I like the idea of the solar. I think it's great. And
That's because you have solar. So.
I hope it's successful. Yeah, I think the utility easements, I'm looking at my notes, the utility easements are 12 feet for electric and telephone, but I want to say 20 feet for water and sewer. So you should check that out. And what else? Let's see. I guess that's enough, Mr. Chairman, for now.
Thank you. Do any of your questions?
Oh, lastly, I guess the one last question, sure,
Please.
which we'll get to when we get to the conservation analysis, which doesn't look like we're going to have a chance to get to tonight, but I'd like to inform the applicant that I think they may find that this committee and commission is looking pretty favorably on the recommendation that a lot of work be kept out of that 100-foot buffer zone, and since we treat it as a resource area in the town of Ayer under our own wetland protection bylaw. So,
Well, Mr.
keep that in
Diskin, as you often do, Mr. Diskin, you read my mind. But let me check my notes quickly, see if there's anything that you should never let me work from my own desk.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Krantz, go ahead. I'm sorry.
While you're reviewing, I wanted to know, has the applicant had the opportunity to read the Conservation Commission's December 7th memorandum to us?
Mr. Beals, Mr. Levine, have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I was going to ask, Mr. Chair, do you feel it would be appropriate? I know that one of the goals you stated for this Mark, the town planner stated for the evening, is to make a finding regarding the conservation report. And I was wondering in your judgment if you thought it would be wise to ask if the applicant had any reflections or comments on that memo before we go into a finding. Would that be appropriate?
You use the word appropriate, Mr. Krantz, and I'm always somebody who wants to give people an opportunity to make a case should they need it, because Mr. Diskin points it out, we want to get it right.
Right.
I'm more than willing to start talking about the conservation recommendation that Joanne put together on behalf, and the Conservation Commission put together. And I actually have a question about that also.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if I'm in a spot right now, but if I may, do you mind shifting gears to this? Actually, Mr. Beals, you still have the screen?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of the, I'm going to hold it up, this thing somewhere? Electronic? So I guess what I'm going to say, you don't need, time's ticking by, and I think I can put it together. We can all look at this in our heads. So the quick read through the conservation recommendation today, and the recommendation, as Mr. Diskin pointed out, is that no building within the 100-foot buffer, or within the buffer zone of the bordering vegetated wetlands. And I was in the peanut gallery the other night, last Thursday evening, for the Conservation Commission, and that map was looks to me to be it's in its final stages, and there's agreement between Attorney Parra was there and the Conservation Commission. That map being overlaid on this would really help me. And I think that's one of the reasons, Mr. Beals, why when we go back to your original document and you had the colors overlaid, it's really helpful. And if it overlays on the OSRD, not the yield plan, but I think it's C2.1 or 2.0. 2.0. So that's the yield plan. The open space RD residential plan, C2.1. You've got this colored, it's not C, yeah. It's hard to match up because of the scale difference. The plan that I'm going to hold up in, good old fashioned way in front of my, matching this up on top of that for me is actually fairly hard, because it looks like lots 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 all have a fair amount of buffer zone in them.
So we can certainly take that plan and overlay it on this one if you want to see an exhibit.
I think it'd be helpful, because one of the things we struggled to do in the last development we did was to make sure we could come up with something that fit the property, that worked for the developer, that provided housing in the town that needs housing, that's attractive to buyers and attractive to the town, that also maintained the value of our high value, maintained, I don't want to use the word sanctity, but it maintained our high value resources, our high value areas. Am I stating it correctly? Other board members jump in. And
I think there's a, excuse me.
oh, please do, Mr. Diskin.
I think the developers has given us a valid reason for keeping the lots the size that they want them, and I'm all on board with that. I think that's, if that's what they feel comfortable with, and that's what's best for their building, and they believe gets the best development.
Yep.
I'm on board with the size of the lots. But what might help us is we can't rule on whether they can build in the buffer zone or not. I think that's, the Conservation Commission. We can try to stress to them how important it is and that we would want them to try to stay out of that. But that's part of the reason that I wanted to take those lots. I didn't get a response from the engineer on my statement that I believe lots 1 and 2 are A&R lots. But if they are taken out, then they would have a life of their own in front of conservation as A&R lots. It might actually simplify the process for you. It'd change your math a little bit, but I'm not sure how that you feel about all of that, but that's another topic for you guys to think about. But I think if they can demonstrate that there's the proportion of this development does, by just showing us maybe where a potential house might land, although I know they don't have to do that now. Maybe we can live with the shape of the lots and leave it up to them to figure out how to get by conservation. Just a thought.
No, as you know, we've all been thinking about this in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know how much, Mr. Beals, how much effort it would take to lay that on top of this. I'm assuming the red line. You can't see my hand. I hate the Zoom.
No, I have an idea where it is.
It more or less follows the 100-foot buffer on this. Okay, so the more I look at it and the more I rescale it in my head, I can start figuring that out. Yep. Okay, because we recognize here in Ayer that one of our resources is our land and resources and stuff
Can
like
we
that.
see that on this previous slide, which was that had the background on it, Mr. Beals?
With the topography on it,
Yeah,
and also
it just goes back to that one. Right, and maybe all you have to do is put you're showing the resource, you're showing the edge of the wetlands here.
BBW, yeah.
Maybe just add the red to that, the line of the 100-foot buffer zone. Does that work for you, Jeff?
That would be very helpful.
Me too. That's fine.
So you don't have to do any more than put the 100-foot buffer zone on that plan, and then it's going to represent pretty much just redo that outer line along this. It's going to run around national heritage and then around the wetlands.
Yeah. So you're never supposed to ask a question that you don't know the answer to. And it's my turn to ask questions. And I know we're getting late in the evening, and I appreciate, Cindy, that you're working late. We're going late tonight. And I don't know the answer to this, and I don't know how to find out the answer. Maybe, Mark, we have to reach out to council. I recognize that you have a letter saying that it does not represent a take of the property that goes over the boundary, goes north of the boundary over the NHASP line. Does that get recorded with the lot? And does the owner of that lot going forward, are there, I hate to say it, rights impinged upon by that or not? Or how does that get tracked? What if I was to buy lot 14 and decide to put a pool in my backyard? Am I going to be dealing with NHESP?
Yeah.
And
Brian, do you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, Brian would be the best to talk about that.
I didn't even see Brian. There we are.
He's muted.
Let me see if I can unmute him. I can ask to unmute him. I wonder if
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yes. It's hey Brian. I'm going to use lot 14 just because it's right in front of me, and it's a fair portion of lot 14. It's at the tip of the cul-de-sac. I'd say 50% of that property roughly is in the NHESP area, over the line, if you will. I bought a house. The house sits before the NHESP line for whatever reason. I can't actually see that. And if I want, as a homeowner, want to put a pool in there, do I have full rights of that lot?
Is this a question for Brian Sutherland or Brian Butler?
Brian Butler.
Brian Butler.
He held up something to the screen and I can't.
I don't think he hears us.
Mr. Butler?
Looking for his gun.
He's writing something down. We found a new way for technology bite us and bite us. There we go.
There he is.
It says, please unmute phone.
Oh, he's on the phone. He must be on 978 down below, the phone call.
Got it. Yes,
I know.
I've asked to unmute that. Thank you very much. Mr. Butler was holding up a handwritten note to the screen. I couldn't read it. I've asked to unmute it. Cindy, are you there?
I am here.
Can you please unmute 978?
I
92?
can't. I can only ask.
I've been
ask
asking.
to be unmuted. So he's also on the phone, is that what you're saying?
Yes, he's using the phone and
We just know what number he has to hit to unmute.
There it goes.
Like 9, right?
It's *6.
Mr. Butler, there you go.
It's on.
Okay.
You got me?
Yes, Mr.
Sorry
Butler,
about
thank you. No worries. We had two Brians. That adds to the confusion.
And the question with regard to natural heritage,
Yeah,
on that lot 14 ostensibly,
I used lot 20 as an example. I want to put a pool in my backyard. Can I put it in NHESP land as a landowner?
yes, we got a negative determination for a layout, I believe similar to this, if not identical, which was comprehensive, that any work within that box would not be subject to a take under natural heritage. If the plan were to change substantially, we would want to go back and just reaffirm that that was still the case. If lot 14, changed configuration slightly, or there was a bump out or other activities. But as of this moment, in terms of natural heritage's concerns, we're kind of carte blanche within the limit of work that is shown and that they've approved to be not constitute a prohibited take.
Okay, thank you. And I've got your attention, if I read the letter correctly, and I don't have it in front of me right now, it says that if no action is taken within 5 years, you got to reapply. But right now, this is good forever based on this drawing for 5 years.
Mr. Chair?
That's correct.
Excuse me, John. So, okay, thank you. Mr. Krantz.
I'd like to resolve, there seems to be some confusion about what take means. And in the last 5 minutes, we've talked about take as in taking property. But I just brought up the memo from the September 8th memo from Fisheries and Wildlife. And the wording says, the division finds that the revised plans do not change our previous determination that this project will not result in a prohibited take, and here's the key words, of state-listed rare species. And that previous determination stands. So their take is about species, and we've been talking about land. And I think we're confusing apples and oranges here, and I want to be sure that we're on the right ground here.
Could I weigh in on that just for clarity, I hope, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please, Mr. Butler.
The take is defined in 321 CMR 1002. A take is pretty broadly defined under the Mass Endangered Species Act. It includes harass, harm, kill, hunt, prevent nesting, feeding, breeding, migration. Unlike the federal act where you kind of need a corpse of a red-coated woodpecker or something to have a take. So when we say take, at least I think all in this context, especially relative to natural heritage, the take means that prohibited take as defined under the Mass Endangered Species Act regulations. So we've avoided a prohibited take under this design as determined by natural heritage.
So if I'm going to translate that into layman's terms, we're talking about land, and that is permitted under the letter that you have.
yeah, this configuration does not constitute a take of the Endangered Species Act. And we could probably, to be completely honest, we could go probably all the way. We may be able to take the entire property if we were to petition for that, or certainly up to the power line, because the species involved is blanding turtles, which is largely an aquatic animal. And they do wander overland, but there's not really a destination across this property that they would, they'd end up on Washington Street. There's no nesting habitat on the site on the entirety of the 22 acres. And the real primary habitat for them is the beaver pond that's to the north of the site and near the juxtaposition with, this is a 115 kV line and there's a 345 that intersects it to the northeast. And so in that area, there's both nesting habitat and aquatic habitat. On our site, it's basically a forested habitat with some somewhat overgrown power line scrub habitat on it, none of which has particular value to blanding turtles. So
yeah,
that was the motivation or the rationale for the program giving us a negative take determination.
Yeah, thanks. I've actually never been in this piece of property, but I've been on the property behind it, and I've heard barred owls there. I've never seen one yet, but I hear them in the spring. They're quite active in that area. I don't know where they sit on the endangered species timeline. Anyway, we are getting late in the evening, gentlemen. I want to say thank you very, very much, but I'm going to have to. Mark, you said an hour and a half tonight.
Yes, I believe that's what we're authorized for, Cindy.
And I've beat Cindy up before and gone over. We're gonna have to move quickly to get some stuff done between now and then, the end of the.
Right. And I just wanted to make one point about the conservation findings. I've been thinking about it as everybody's been discussing this. It might be good to withhold that until the planning board has done a site visit with the mapping and the conservation analysis in front of them. So that we can, really make an informed decision based on the ground truth rather than just a bunch of colors on the map.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I think that's helpful. I'm thinking about what our next steps might be at this point. I'm going to put my chairman hat back on. I would like to schedule a site walk. I am up for it. Well, excuse me for a moment. I'm going to double check the weather because I think Saturday this week is a rainy day here in Ayer.
Good day to see it.
You know what? Saturday morning doesn't look bad. Are people available Saturday morning to do this?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm looking down. Yeah, it looks like we're not going to have rain till Saturday afternoon. We're going to have temperatures in the 40s at 9 o'clock in the morning. Is the proponent available to meet with us Saturday morning?
Yes.
Thank you.
What time works best for everybody?
I'm going to put it out to the board at 9 o'clock. Is that too late? 8:30?
No.
How long do you think we should take? Will it take? If you were going to take us for a site walk and how much time would you like us to be there so we can do a good job?
As much time.
Serious.
1 hour.
I would think, half an hour, depending on what's important to the board.
Let's plan for an hour. Can anybody can we impact people's days up until 10 a.m.? Call it a 9 o'clock start?
Yes.
I see bobbing heads. Okay, let's do a 9 o'clock start. Why don't we park across the street at the high school? Meet up there. Mr. Beals, do you think we can have a copy of that 100-foot buffer overlaid on this by then?
Sure.
I appreciate that. I really do. Any other questions? Any other things?
Yeah.
Okay. Cindy's just giving me permission for a little extra time, but we're going to have to use it for other items on our agenda. I want to say thank you very much to proponents, and we're probably going to end up continuing this to our next meeting. I need a motion to continue, I believe.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the discussion of the preliminary subdivision plan for 0 Washington Street through to our next meeting on December 22nd.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much, Mr. Beals, Mr. Levine, Mr. Enos, Mr. Butler. We look forward to seeing some of you guys on Saturday morning at 9.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz. Oh, Jonathan, you're waving goodbye. Thank you. So next on our agenda, special permits for Washington Street and the continued site plan review for Washington Street. We
Want the
received,
motions?
we've all received an email today about it. Yes, please make your motions, Mr. Krantz.
I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing for the special permit for 14 Washington Street to our next air planning board meeting on December 22nd.
Seconded.
Move Mr. Krantz, second by Ms. Murray. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
You all moved again. Mr. King, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mr. Krantz, would you do it again, please?
I'd like to make a motion to continue the site plan review for 14 Washington Street at our next meeting, December 22nd.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Mr. Krantz moved, Ms. Murray seconded. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Okay, town planner update is next on our list. How you doing, Mark?
Good. Yeah, basically, just wanted to let you know that I finally did get a letter out to the engineering firm that completed the traffic study for Alltown, Lobo Montello, thanking them for their updated report. And I CC'd that also to Attorney Gibbons. And I also, in a conversation with Chairman Tillotson about a week ago, I asked about the possibility of scheduling a special planning board meeting for the purpose of having a planning board training on sureties, bonding, covenants, and all that sort of thing, with the planner from Northampton, who's a recognized authority on that. Certainly, we see that our meetings, our regular meetings, are going to be too busy to have that sort of training in the next few months, but I still would like to do this. And so if you can all be thinking about a post-holiday, early 2021 date where we could maybe have a meeting with the Northampton planner about bonding and that sort of thing, I think it would be a worthwhile training session.
Mark, I'm gonna ask a couple quick questions. Don't in any way think I'm in any way opposed to that. I think it's a great idea. I also spoke to Robert about it, and he's on board with it also. How long do you think it's gonna take?
Probably an hour and a half, I would say.
Okay, so let's all think about coming up with, maybe I'll put together a Zoom poll or something like that, or maybe on Saturday, let's figure out, look at our schedules, see what's coming up. It's a busy, Hanukkah starts in 2 days, and it's a busy, it's the 10th this year. Hanukkah begins on the 10th. So it's going to be a busy 3 weeks, 17 days till Christmas, 21 days or so till 24 until the new year. But let's see if we can't find a time. I think it's worthwhile to do, it's worth doing. So thank you. Anything else that you got, Mark?
That's it. Otherwise, just, miscellaneous correspondence, but those are the big items for now.
Fantastic. I've got a couple things I wanted to talk about. I sent a letter around to everybody in the last 24 hours. Sorry it took so late, but in conversations with Mr. Diskin and conversations with Mr. Popriand and watching the Conservation Commission meeting last week, we still have a dispute between Harvard and Ayer. We still have a person from Harvard who is convinced that we have not resolved the town line dispute that impacts the Shaker Mill Pond and the Shaker Road work going on over there. And I think you all know the background to it. Mr. Aho, my understanding has gone forward, and this came up in the meeting last week, that he had gone to an engineering firm and paid for it to get an independent determination of the town line between Harvard and Ayer. We have been requesting that information from the town of Harvard since it was done, which I believe was sometime late October, early November, Mr. Diskin. Do you recall when it was?
I wouldn't speculate on when. It's been a while.
It's been a while. So I've gone forward and written a letter, and I know we're going to take a multi-pronged approach. Have you all had a chance to read the letter?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any the desire for the letter is to be straightforward. We'd like a copy. We want to put this issue in our rearview mirror. So I would appreciate I should probably read the letter quickly if it's okay. It'll be dated tomorrow if it's accepted, December 9th, 2020. A letter to the Harvard Select Board, care of Mr. Timothy P. Bragan, Town Administrator, Town Hall, Town Administrator, Harvard, Mass, Town Hall, 13 Ayer Road, Harvard, Mass, 01451, via registered mail and electronic mail. We'll let him know it's coming through electronic mail if we can get his email address. Dear Mr. Bragan, I'm writing to you on behalf of the Planning Board for the Town of Ayer, Massachusetts. It is our understanding that the Town of Harvard is in receipt of a completed engineer's report regarding the Harvard/Ayer Town line as it intersects the Shaker Road with Shaker Road in the Bennett's Brook, Shaker Mill Pond area, and also farther west along Shaker Road. I understand that the report was prepared for the Town of Harvard by the Ducharme and Dillis, now Dillis and Roy, engineering firms, and was delivered to your office. I am writing to request a copy of the report. You may send the report to me via electronic mail at gtillotson@ayer.ma.us. If you're unable to forward a copy of the report immediately, please advise via electronic mail of the reasons why and when a copy of the report will become available. Thank you for your careful contention in this matter, and I'm hopeful that we can work cooperatively to resolve this issue. Regards, Jeff Tillotson, Chair. Copies will be going to Robert Pomprion, our Ayer Town Manager, the Ayer Select Board, the Ayer Planning Board. We'll put a copy in the file. Mark Archambault, the Town Planner here for the Town of Ayer. And we'll also send a copy. Copies will be included with the registered letter for each of the select board members of Harvard, addressed to them individually. Yes, Mr. Krantz.
Mr. Chair, just because this meeting is a matter of record, that it's recorded and that we have minutes, I just want to speak to something. You described this as a dispute. And I want to just go on the record to say that to me, and I suspect for other members, this isn't a dispute. This is a legally resolved issue, and it's a matter of some parties who fail to acknowledge the resolution. And I just want to get that language in here in this meeting. So that
I think that's great. Thank you. And you all know I called it a dispute in the way that we have a dispute happening in our country right now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. More than half the people don't agree. Whatever. But no, I do appreciate that this has been legally resolved to our satisfaction, and has been that way since the permits were issued for the projects going on over there.
Right.
So with all your permission, I would like a motion,
Jeff,
and I will modify this. Go ahead.
Just want to add one thing, if possible, that you might want to think about changing this. Just I'm reading it. I've got it behind the Zoom stuff, and
yeah,
it's the way it's written. It says Harvard Select Board, care of Tim Bragan. I'm suggesting that it be addressed to the chairman of the Harvard Select Board. So it would read something like this: Dear Mr. So-and-so, as chairman of the Harvard Select Board and members of the Harvard Select Board, with a copy to Mr. Bragan. So that the letter is addressed to the Select Board directly, actually the chairman and members of the Select Board.
Yes.
Copy to Mr. Bragan.
Thank you very much, Ken.
And I don't know the name of the chairman, but I'm sure we could get it online. Or Mr.
I have it in front of me. I'm going to.
I think that's the way it typically would go.
I think I just shared it. You can see it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't pick on me for my typing prowess. Chairman of Harvard Select Board and members of the Harvard Select Board, care of Timothy Bragan, dear, and I apologize to the chairman. The last name is Von Lesecki. It's VONLOESECKE. And I will address it to that person.
Okay.
Okay. And tomorrow I'll get this over to Mark. And I've lost you all.
Can I get a copy of that too, since you discussed it during the meeting? I need to include it with the minutes.
I can barely hear you.
I'm just asking that you send me a copy of that letter, since you discussed it during the meeting. I need to have it as part of the record for the minutes.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to add, I forgot the word engineering firm after Ducharme and Dillis, but I'll send it over to it will not change. Thank you very much, Mr. Diskin. I appreciate that, pointing that out to us.
Probably one more, we should probably carbon copy our Conservation Commission as well.
You can't see me typing it, but that's okay.
No more carbon, of course.
Yep.
Mr.
Ayer
Chair.
Conservation Commission. It came in as Conversation Commission, but it's okay. I get it right. I do want to get Cindy home from work and Mark also. So
One
thank
more-
you very much. We'll
one
get
more
that
thing.
sent.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. King.
The second paragraph, it says the report was prepared for the town of Harvard. I just want to make sure there's no confusion that, the town of Harvard didn't request this report. This wasn't a report. Dillis and Roy did not do this at their request, right? This was made by a developer's request for,
No.
Is that right? Or is it the town of Harvard made this request?
It is our understanding that town of Harvard refuses to see the work that's being done, and and the proponent paid for Harvard to get the work done.
Okay, I think
one way or the other. They're going to know what we're talking about.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you. So yeah, I will. So Mark, I'll send this over to you and Heather if you want to put it on letterhead. Tomorrow I have to shoot to Framingham first thing in the morning, and I've got an 11:30 Zoom meeting with Italy. I'll be done probably around 1 o'clock or so. I'll give you guys a call around that. Does anybody else have any old or new business? Yes, Mr. Krantz.
Just very quickly, I recognize that this is the Panther Place 0 Washington Street is an extraordinarily complicated project, and it's a complicated preliminary plan. And I just wanted to express my appreciation to our town planner, Mark Archambault, for putting together really an excellent report. And I especially appreciate that even with all the complexity and depth of the report, that he quite correctly and conscientiously identified the key areas of concern for us. And I just appreciate that level of thoughtfulness and diligence. Thank you.
Second.
You're here. You're here. You want to make an emotion, Jonathan? We'll vote on it. No, thank you very much. Finally, let's get through the minutes. Jonathan, thank you so much for going through the minutes and correcting them. And Heather, thanks for getting them off to us today.
Motions?
Please.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the Air Planning Board on November 10th, 2020.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Do we have any discussion? Yes. On the first page, at 6:15, Chairman Tilson read aloud the COVID-19 emergency order. It's on the other one too.
Yeah,
it's
got
just
it.
a typo. It's just a typo, Heather. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this in public. That's just a typo, but I'm sure there isn't a spell checker in the world that isn't sick of that word. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
I have to abstain.
Oh, that's correct. I'm sorry. You still have to ask. Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. So those are accepted with one abstention. Mr. Krantz for the number of 24th?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes of the Air Planning Board for November 24th, 2020.
Seconded.
Moved by Mr. Krantz, seconded by Ms. Murray. Any discussion? Hearing none. Mr. Diskin, how do you vote?
I abstain.
Thank you. Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Krantz?
Aye.
Ms. Murray?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy.
Good night, all. Look forward to seeing you all Saturday at 9 o'clock.
I set an alarm, so this time I will be there, board members. I apologize.
We'll wait till Saturday. Double check that.
It's the alarm's on Saturday. It'll be good.
I hold that on my shoulders because I called everybody but you, Julie. I figured I'd see
I
you
blamed
that day.
him, and I want Harvard to fight the fight. Okay. Goodbye.
Good night, all.
If anyone
Cheers.
needs any information on Endangered Species Act, I just read like 27 pages in environmental law about it.
I have a
2
picture
more
of my
weeks of school left.
Good luck,
Thank you.
Heather.
I have a picture of myself petting a Blandings turtle, but it was being held by the biologist who had permission to have it in her hands, and in Concord, yeah. There's a Blandings turtle missing a leg, and they check on it every 6 months. And I was riding by on a bicycle. I go, that's a Blandings turtle. I've never seen one in life. So anyway, motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Somebody?
Seconded. Goodbye.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See you on Saturday, guys.